Right. We gotta figure out a cool little jingle to start this with. I've been thinking like tea time with Jimmy and Nolan.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like get some harmonization going.
Okay. Here, do that again.
Tea time with Jimmy and Nolan. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll have the I don't know if in post we could add the tea steam like fade in.
Yes. Yes.
And then we could also do a slide down on the guitar. You know how like they do the pick thing, I don't know. And then go into the tea time with
Jimmy and Nolan.
Yeah. And then you just start us off and I'll
So welcome to Tea Time with Jimmy and Nolan. I feel like every time
one more time.
Tea Time with Jimmy and Nolan. Every time we say the title, we have to say it that way.
Yeah.
We are not allowed to.
Like even mid-show.
Yeah.
It just, Okay.
This is a podcast of just a Marshall student and a Marshall faculty member who just want to talk about tea, but not like the spilt tea, the yummy tea.
Yes. Healthy benefits, good for the mind and soul.
This is also great, like learning for me because like we can get like really like not I don't know how ASMR you want to get with it, but like we can like get really like soft and quiet with it, you know, just like really calm and soothing.
Just like get some sips in there.
Yeah. Well, okay, maybe that might be
tea sips.
We'll need to hear them to hear.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
if it translates. Did you know the scientific name of tea is Camellia sinensis?
What the heck?
I don't know if my phonetics are right on that.
Scientific names are always interesting because you'll get like a really you'll have something that makes sense, like dogs and canines, you know.
Right.
That's been ingrained in my head enough that I know what that is. But like, can you say that again?
I'm gonna try.
Camellia sinensis.
I'm gonna cheat.
Camellia sinensis.
That's so weird.
My assistant. Yeah, no. Do you know the origin story of tea?
No.
So apparently, there's some Japanese emperor was sitting with warm water, heated water, outside under a cherry blossom, I think, or something like that, and some petals fell into his teacup. And so it turned to water, and he took a sip, and there was your first hibiscus tea, which is a flower, non-caffeinated tea. But I always think that's a fun origin story. I don't think anyone knows the official beginnings, but it's a good one.
So I think the way this is going to work is today's episode is going to be interesting because we're going to talk about our experiences with tea. But going forward, we will have a tea. Each episode will have a tea built around it, and we'll review it. And I think part of the humor of this will be you love tea, right, Jimmy?
I do love tea. Yeah. I think it's, after coffee, it's the thing that gets me through the day. Energy drinks are passé.
I am an absolute child, but not in like the modern Gen Z sense. I'm like you. I hate energy drinks, but like tea and coffee, nah, man, just give me some chalky milk.
That's fair. That's so fair. What is your experience with tea on the other side? What was the first tea you ever had?
So, I come from a family, so we were actually talking about sweet tea in my geography class. It'll connect back. So, my experience with tea is sweet tea.
Southern.
Except it's the weird thing. So
Same.
my I don't know if it's the funny brain chemicals in my head. My mom makes really good sweet tea, but like, yeah, she puts a good amount of sugar in it, but not like. I think I'm so used to like how sweet McDonald's sweet tea is. Like whenever like my mom like she puts sugar
might as well
in
do it right.
But like I don't think she puts like a buttload of sugar.
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
And so like it doesn't like taste super like it's sweet, but not like overwhelmingly. It doesn't taste like sugar water.
Lucky.
Yeah.
No. My best friend's mom, when talking about sweet tea, so I used to game with my best friend, and she would make us a gallon, and it was at least 4 cups of sugar.
I don't actually know
Loads.
I don't know how much my mom puts in, but yeah, that is my experience with sweet tea. But this actually brings me something interesting. One of the reasons why I'm happy we waited this long to start recording, I'm taking a geography class. it's human geography, Dr.
Okay.
Kozar. And we were talking about how, especially with human geography, you're not just asking about population density and whatnot.
Mhm.
You're also looking at things like barbecue, where like what the different types of barbecues throughout this American South.
Okay. Yeah.
Beer consumption in the U.S. Like, what is it? Utah is the Mormon state, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No beer. There's almost no beer
Yeah.
consumption because
Alcohol
they're
sales
all,
are.
yeah.
It's very dry. I think it's yeah.
But then you start talking about sweet tea, and that was an interesting one.
Hmm.
That professor, he's lived in 3 places. He originally lived in Pennsylvania, moved to
Okay.
I think North Carolina, North or South Carolina. I'm pretty sure North, and then he now's here working at Marshall. And he was talking about how um, when he first went to North Carolina, he learned about sweet tea, and uh, heck, I'd say sweet tea is a pretty famous part of McDonald's menu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
he
it's
was like,
gained mass notoriety. Yeah.
he was telling our class about how, he went back to Pennsylvania. His town, like, only just had gotten a new McDonald's. They didn't even have sweet
Nice.
tea. And in fact, yeah. And in fact, if you go to certain McDonald's, supposedly some are getting better at having like sweet tea.
Yeah.
But most of
Yeah.
the time they'll just give you like normal tea, like non-sweet tea.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it really is Southern. In what?
Yeah, sweet tea is
a
a
lot of
really
ways.
southern thing. Yeah.
I did watch an internet video. I think it was like some British kids like trying American foods, and sweet tea was definitely one that caught them by surprise. Because they usually use cream
Yeah.
and sugar, I think, just a little bit, but nothing crazy. But I just thought that was too
Yeah.
funny. Also, biscuits and gravy apparently are a prime American cuisine.
A few years ago, I'm remembering it. This guy, sorry for, got a bit of a
We can
weather
take that out in
change.
post.
Yeah. There was this, I forget who it was, but someone reviewed Tudor's Biscuit World,
Nice.
but they called it Tudor's Biscuit World. They called it the full name, and everyone was like, "It's Tudor's, man.
It's just Tudors.
It's
Yeah.
Tudor's. We don't say the full name."
No, that's for the off-brand franchise. The ones that aren't part of the Tudor family. I actually went to school with Travis Tudor. He went to Huntington High. He's 1 year ahead, but yeah, good friend.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's fun to see the other side of any big business,
Yeah.
with their family friend or whatnot. But yeah.
So what's your experience with tea, Jimmy?
Well, I've had a fun road with tea. So I started much like you, sweet tea. Like I said, video gaming at my best friend's. But after high school, I lived with one of my best friends, Ben, and he got into like bag tea, so loose tea. And he started ordering loose tea online. And the first one I tried was a rooibos tea. I think it's originates in Africa. Anyway, absolutely delicious. Like a flavor I'd never tasted. I didn't know that tea could have so much behind it, and the flavors are so unique. It's not like, oh, you drink coffee and sometimes it's got a chocolatey, a flavor. There wasn't much to compare it to, so I started looking into other teas, and then I tried Capital Teas. That was the first thing. When I was in D.C. at my sister's wedding, I saw a tea shop, and that was a game changer. If you're by a local tea shop, check it out. Because the loose leaf tea is where it's at. The flavors there, all the health benefits that come with tea are things I looked up afterwards, like heart health and anti-inflammatory properties and calming properties, and it's good for many things depending on the tea type. And I would say the variety of tea is, it can be made from flowers and leaves and fruits, and so it's quite a neat drink.
I love leaf juice.
That's precisely what it is.
Yes.
We're gonna have some very yummy leaf juice in here. Sometimes with honey, it's better with a little sweetness in there, but local only. So
Every episode we plan when we start drinking the teas, we plan on having a little review score, and because I've only ever drank sweet tea, you're for at least a good chunk of episodes, I'm gonna try to be impartial, but I'm gonna have a pretty low score every time.
I hope to
Yeah.
surprise you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. No.
I
Like
really do.
I'm.
I think you're gonna like the fruit
Oh,
tea.
yeah. By the
Really
end
well.
of this little adventure me and Jimmy are going on, I'm expecting myself to be a tea lover.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's go. That's
I-
the spirit.
Should one of us like give the background of like where this idea came from?
Yeah, sure.
Do you
I
want to
like
do it
that.
or
Yeah,
me?
I can come
Oh,
in
yeah.
with some history, and then you can give the initial impression.
I mean like about well yeah, of course the tea, but also like the
we're
show.
talking about the show.
Yeah.
No, take it away, because I think a lot of was inspired from your vlogging of our trip. So
The idea for this podcast came last spring when the Marshall Chamber Choir went to Paris. Me and Jimmy are both members. I'm a choir member. He's a choir member / our audio guy. It was always really funny seeing him like have to rush up in the background of like these big cathedrals, setting up all the cameras and mics. But having
Stress.
to, you'd watch him run down the side to get on stage.
yeah,
But I got like deathly
fond
sick.
memories.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
poor Nolan. He
yeah,
did.
okay. Deathly was a bit over exaggeration,
I mean-
but I was
You were ill. You were
miserable.
ill.
yeah. I even remember. It's like I went that entire day feeling perfect. Then as soon as we got into Paris, I just like laid back in my seat and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And so you saw me like buying a water, a Powerade, and a Coke every day. You kind of judged me for my sweet tooth, and then
Oh no, where did it start? It was in the airport.
oh yeah, because like I was
what were you drinking?
yeah,
it was Surge
it was
or like
lemon
was it?
lime Fanta, and we called it ooze.
Ooze, yeah.
Yeah.
Nolan's ooze was yeah.
Yeah.
We were having
Yeah.
a fun time in the airport.
You could tell
Say-
we were all
say the
getting
least.
tired from the travel, even though we weren't even like at the half. We were only at the halfway point.
Yeah.
We were at it was Atlanta, yeah. But then I'm trying to but then we get to Paris, I get sick, and then one night we had this cool little patio area on the floor most of us were all on. That was a great hotel.
Yeah,
And
it
we-
really was perfect.
A whole like I mean like every night everyone would like stay up, just kind of chill, hang out.
Yeah.
Great little bonding moment for the choir, I would say.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everyone returned this
yeah.
year, so
And then there was like one night you were like, "Here's a great," and I actually started feeling better the next morning. You were like, Nolan, if we want to like really start helping you feel better, we need to make some tea because
Yeah.
you know all the hotels had free tea.
yeah.
You know, so I like grabbed 2 mugs. Me and him just like sat outside and just like drank tea while everyone else like did whatever they
Yeah.
were doing. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what we had. What was our first tea? I think it was a green and a
Yeah.
I don't know.
All I
I feel
remember
like there was one herbal tea.
Yeah.
I can't remember what.
all I remember is my thought was, this is okay. It was kind of bland.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's kind of how tea is.
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember-
Especially the bag tea. That's the difference. We have to.
I-
Can't wait for the loose leaf.
I remember I was like, can I put like some sugar in this? And you were like, no, it won't. You'll still feel sick if you put the sugar in it.
Right. So yeah, I was telling Nolan that he shouldn't have the sugar. Just enjoy the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of the tea, and
I actually
Yeah.
do think the tea did something because like I was starting to feel better, but like that next morning, like I was still out in the
Yeah.
sense of couldn't sing, but like that I was
yeah.
So
No,
like
it's
tea actually does have some like
it and the soothing like heat, things like that. It's quite the beverage.
this will be a very
So
spiritual
yeah,
podcast.
that's the thing. I feel like you got feeling better, and here we are. I mean, it's transcended the Atlantic Ocean at least.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it can transcend some
Taste
airwaves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Transcend the
Yeah, we'll see
you
what
gotta
happens.
say that you gotta say that again. That's too great.
Transcend the airwaves.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I think we're gonna have some good guests on here. Hopefully, we can get a good variety of our arts and media faculty and students in here, and
We kind of want to, I guess not sell out since we're not getting paid, but like kind of be a sellout to the university you work for, I go to, and just like kind of show off what this campus. Yeah, we can use
Yeah.
transcend the barriers with their
I
tea.
like this.
I was thinking
It does. It's like music or
Yeah.
something universal language. Everyone can taste sharing tea.
Yeah, like we got a British guy in the journalism department. He'd
Yeah.
love tea. We could even do an April Fool's episode with coffee and just find because I heard somewhere there's like a professor on campus with a coffee podcast in the history department.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
either
maybe
way,
we'll
they're
unite
Yeah.
one day. That would be fun.
Crossover.
Yeah, we'll have a crossover podcast. That would be a good time. But yeah, I suppose what happens here at Marshall, share some tea. We are both going to be sons of, well, technically still son of Marshall.
Yeah.
Close to being an alumni. What year are you, Nolan?
I'm a third year.
How's the capstone coming together? I guess do you have
haven't-
something for the third year? As far as
I'm not sure.
a big project or
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure third year's when I'm supposed to do my internship, but I did it over the summer. I worked with I
nice.
got to work with the Herald Dispatch, which was really cool.
nice. Who'd you work with over there?
I worked with their entire staff.
Nice.
I know there were the editors Lauren McGill,
Mm-hmm.
Jim Ross, and Sarah Ingram, and then a bunch of other reporters.
Yeah.
That was one of my. I'm gonna say it. Summer was split into two halves. The first half and the second half. The second half only got good when I took my trip to Colorado.
Nice.
That first half though, nothing will beat that first half. Like, don't get me wrong, it did suck not having a weekend because I was working 2 summer jobs. Because I had my little
Nice. Well done.
concession stand pool worker job.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun having to sit in like this like stuffy concession stand on the weekends. But oh my
Yeah.
god, during the week, man, that was I miss that. I
So
wanna
so
go
first
back.
part of your summer you were doing
was,
your
like,
internship
yeah,
at Herald Dispatch.
Yeah.
Nice.
The only downside is, and do know that this is just lazy college student making excuses. I didn't like how I had to do work for my internship class. I thought I just had to do the internship.
Yeah.
But no, I had to do papers.
So you wrote about your experience
yeah,
and yeah.
Like it was
Nice.
work, but like even when I was doing the work, I was never like, this is work. I was like,
Yeah. Something you
yeah,
enjoy.
I gotta do that.
Heck yeah. What was the favorite thing you covered? Any big story that was like that just pops in your mind or
One of my favorite articles, and I'm sad that my internship ended early enough to where I couldn't like see it through all the way.
yeah.
I got to do the like preview article for Billy Bob's BillyCon.
Nice.
In fact,
This is news.
I had
To
a
me.
few extra hours,
Billy.
so I worked 2 extra days.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like one last full week and then a Monday, Tuesday shift. And we were joking about how I should have saved one of those 2 days for that weekend because it was the 2 days before the weekend of BillyCon, and we were joking that I should have saved my hours and freelanced the BillyCon thing. They were even trying.
yeah.
It shows how much I think it shows how good I was doing as a worker and
Nice.
how much they enjoyed having me around. That they were like, "Do you want to freelance it?" But I couldn't because I had back to school shopping to do. But yeah, that was an interesting article because I know Chuck E. Cheese still exists in a way,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure they're just an arcade pizza place now.
Pretty much. Yeah.
From my
Good
understanding,
family place to eat and
Yeah. From what they claim and they said, Billy Bob's Wonderland is the only place with animatronics.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only showbiz pizza place in
Yeah.
existence.
It is. They've been very antiquated in a sense.
It's an interesting
Impressive.
story as well because it started the original owner of Billy Bob's. He did his one thing and he started up BillyCon. I think they said this year was the 4th year, so about 4 years ago they started up BillyCon, and it was a big thing, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. Big issue. There was only one day offered, and it was a Saturday. So this year they expanded to Friday evening and then all day Sunday as well.
Nice.
But the interesting part was I guess they did have some arcade aspect to it, but the current owner, because the original owner passed away, I guess, a while back.
Okay.
The current owner, I don't know if he has like, excuse me, something against the. I don't think he has anything against the Huntington Mall, but he used to have an arcade in the Huntington Mall. I guess they
Oh,
pushed
Tilt?
Yeah,
Did he own that?
I think so. But then
Wow.
I guess
That was a spot when I was a
yeah,
kid. Yeah.
I guess he got pushed out for Dave and Buster's,
Oh my gosh! No
and
kidding.
but then he got brought on to Billy Bob's, so he just
Okay.
brought over all of his equipment over there.
Wow.
Um, but that was a really interesting article because I even remember looking at the Facebook comments on like the where the Herald Dispatch, advertises their posts and
Yeah.
shares it.
Yeah.
Because I even remember putting like a quote about the guy saying like, this is how, especially with us offering 2 extra days, we're expecting like 1,000 people to show up. And I don't know how many people ended up going, but I remember people in the comments being like, only 1,000? Like, people were surprised. Like, you're
Yeah.
offering 2 extra days. Like, you're gonna have way more. And they were setting up to be a big thing. Like, they had a special deal with the Marriott for people who need to stay.
That's
And
cool.
get this, thing that stood out to me about that story was just show you how big of a nostalgia piece this is.
Yeah.
He's had one thing he liked that he actually I think continued this year was they had this book of people like sign in and where they're from, because even outside of BillyCon,
Nice.
he's had families come from Arizona, Indiana, simply because
wow.
either A, they're nostalgic about animatronics, B, their kids love FNAF, and C, they physically cannot believe this place still exists. In fact,
Yeah.
you probably saw my Facebook post about it. I put on Facebook, I cannot believe I had to put Five Nights at Freddy's in a news article. Because I was bracing for it, but like
Right.
he even said like that children's video game series, that's a big thing. One thing that was a cool little full circle moment connecting back to Marshall with that story though was
Oh, nice. Yeah.
there's a student, and in fact I need to mention it to the student because like they're in my screenwriting class, but they actually work for Billy Bob's, and because they'll sometimes share on social media how it's going on, yada yada. So that was a really cool, like I got to like meet another Marshall student over the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's so funny. Good time. I'm gonna have to go to BillyCon next year.
Yeah, no.
Did not know that was even a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad, brother, and I used to always go to Billy Bob's. I think the last time we went, we got so many tickets, we were able to get him this like large purple pimp hat, like just covered in fur and stuff. And so we called my brother the Shadow Pimp. And it's notorious. We're just gonna have to go back to Billy Bob's now.
We got to bring the Shadow Pimp to the T podcast.
Oh, he would definitely do it.
You know what? The day this podcast club gets mobile gear,
Yeah.
we're doing a tea podcast at Billy Bob's.
We got the mix brie. We're good to go.
I'll call that guy up.
I can get an RA20. I need to get maybe one of these pod mics. These sound good.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh yeah, no.
That's a good response.
I don't know if you've been like following the Dead Podcast or social medias. By the way, follow us on social media.
Yeah, Dead Podcaster Society is hosting this.
Like we always have like unless we're just like goofing off during a recording, we always have really good audio.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited to listen. Give you my opinion. But yeah, Billy Bob's is awesome. And so what was the second half of the summer? Since we're on the catch-up segment.
Yeah, so
You went to Colorado.
in my just to begin with, in my neighborhood, where my parents live, there's a pool. It's not a fancy gated community pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pool that like we had to put most of our budget into fixing a singular crack, and then my brother, simply because I think that was less money they had to spend fixing the deck, my brother was able to tell him he would rebuild the entire deck which it's a really nice deck, by the way. He
nice.
rebuilt the pool deck for his Eagle Scout project, so that was
Nice. Yeah.
we can talk about that again for another episode.
Sure, yeah.
But basically, I would just sit in this stuffy concession stand room and either just like play my Switch or sit on my phone until customers came
That's
to buy
awesome.
stuff, or I
Yeah.
had to like clean toilets and whatnot. Oh God, first few weeks was horrible because like parents would just let their kids go wild, and like the bathrooms were always a
Oh,
mess.
I believe it.
It
Same thing happens at state parks. I worked at one.
was disgusting.
I've never dealt with so much
I'm not gonna get
turbulence in my life.
I'm not gonna get in since we are presenting a very peaceful, lovely podcast. I'm not getting into
Yes.
the details, but
Yes.
yeah, mainly it just wasn't as fulfilling. I guess you could say. It was nice. It was money.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel as nice. But then I got to go to Colorado for a scouting event. So I'm a member of
Heard.
the Order of the Arrow, which is sort of best way to describe it is Scouting's honor society. And so it's a way for scouts to of course do more service, but also just keep enjoying scouting, especially after they've turned 18. So in the OA, in Boy Scouts you're considered a youth until 18. Then you're allowed to do stuff, but you're a little limited because you can't do all the fun stuff because that's all for kids. Then once you're in the OA, you're a youth until you're 21. And even then, especially at OA events, just to keep all the the old guys coming, you can do you do have to follow youth protection guidelines, but you can still do and have all the fun you want as an adult.
Nice. That is awesome.
But even then, it's funny because even though I'm called a youth, I'm activity wise and like fun wise, I'm a youth. But because we use BSA guidelines, it's like I'm a youth, but we're called youth adults because it's like
Yeah.
we gotta balance that, like the safety aspect, which is understandable.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was only me and 2 other guys who were youth adults, so I got a private room to myself, which was nice.
Nice.
We stayed at University of Colorado Boulder.
Oh, it's
And
beautiful over there.
The dorms it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you saw the photos I had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all, yeah.
Oh my God. The backdrop of the mountains.
It's,
kiss.
Boulder's fantastic.
But we stayed in their dorms, and I will say I'm in a single at Marshall. It is nice having that extra bed to make into a couch, but something about like just a room. I'm guessing it was an RA dorm, which is why it only had one bed, but it only had one bed. So I'm like, neat. I even moved a few. Like I just moved one dresser. Their dorms come. I don't know if it. I'm pretty sure it's the way it is all at the other places. Their dorms come like pre-installed with microwave, mini fridge, and a singular
Okay.
lamp.
That's helpful.
It's that's really fancy.
Yeah.
Like what
No,
the heck?
Boulders, they do well.
They also have a little more money than Marshall. But
Yeah.
Hey,
Right.
You can't blame us. We're
No.
It's West
We're
Virginia.
doing it. We're still doing it.
We're living by our own rules.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. There was about 6,000 scouts there. One standout moment was Tuesday evening. Every day we would have a show that we would attend. So Tuesday evening they brought out a comedian. You could tell he was funny, but you could tell he was like kind of held back because on one hand he wanted to kind of get a bit more PG-13 in his humor.
Yeah.
But like
Believe it.
you have all sorts of kids there, so you can only go so far. I found his bit.
Glad he had reservation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Like he.
I guess he was hired for the event for a reason.
Yeah. Like he actually like he. And even then, the stuff he did say was really funny. He had this whole bit about like blenders and whatnot. It was really good. But that happened. But then they brought on a live band. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what they're called, but they're a cover band, really good as well. But
Nice.
at one point, you know how during singing, everyone starts bringing out the phone flashlights. And,
Oh, yeah.
and swinging side to side, and at one point, once again, 6,000 scouts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. And even then, there was like a whole section of what I presume was their basketball arena, not filled with scouts.
Yeah.
He had them turn. He was like, "Let's turn down the lights. Let's turn." Like all the lights, all the effects were turned off, and it felt like we were in an. It felt like so many flashlights were on. Like the whole room was. It was like it was a regular room.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was really cool.
I think I saw that
Yeah.
picture, but you explaining that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but yeah, no, it was a really cool experience. I got to try scuba diving in 4
nice.
feet of water,
Still.
but yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just got to do a lot of cool stuff.
You had a good summer.
Yeah, we went to the St. Louis Arch.
Nice.
2024, honestly, just in general, not even just summer, like has been my year.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you? I noticed
I
you got
mean,
into gardening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same kind of thing as you. I think ever since that trip to Paris, it's been a good vibe. I've been riding the wave and uh, did some good hiking around the Monongahela. Started mushroom foraging, which is fun. I've always gone in the woods, but just gives you one other thing to do when you're just enjoying all the nature is checking out fungi or fungi, as the mycologists say.
Really?
Yeah, it is fungi. I went to the West Virginia mushroom foray, which is an annual thing that the West Virginia Mushroom Club puts together. It's in Blackwater Falls State Park, and we go out and forage mushrooms. And during many of the speech, it was fungi. So anyway, there went my Joko. What a fun guy.
Yeah,
It's just out the window.
that doesn't they don't sound very fun guys.
No, they're not. One guy was like,
I
now it's all rhyming, but yeah. Anyway,
every time
they're
I-
really into mushrooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the summer was great. I bought a house. I got 2 other dogs. Some cats decided to move in, and then yeah, the semester started, and I did get into gardening. I fed myself for 2 months until the deer destroyed all of my hard work.
Oh.
I know. I have a vendetta. It's personal.
Every
But,
time I talk to you, I feel like I learned something new, though.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. You should come to the mushroom foray. It's scouty. It's scout like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I never would have took you as a mushroom guy.
Yeah. Do you like eating mushrooms, like
I'm not
portobello or
like I am ADD as all heck.
Yeah.
I am one of the pickiest eaters out
Oh
there.
no. Maybe we'll try some mushrooms as well as
you know
tea.
what, yeah.
I wonder if they have mushroom tea. It's beneficial. Well,
That,
of
like,
course they do.
Get that
The
Super Mario tea.
mushroom
you know?
tea, not coffee though. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. They got some wild cards on the tea roster coming up. The TQ.
Yeah, you want to give us a hint at like what all we have set up?
Well, I'm thinking we should always have a caffeinated, non-caffeinated option.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go one herbal. I think I'm gonna start with a black tea next week. It's actually got, I think, a little bit of yogurt in it in the blend. It's the most odd tea, but it hails from, I don't know. I think the blend remake, at least. It's not like it was made in Wales and shipped, but just like where it originated, I think is somewhere
Yeah.
in the UK that way or nearby. So I'm excited for it. It's got a creamy, obvious flavor. The yogurt flavor does not come out. It's got a nice cream sweet black tea flavor. I think you're actually gonna really dig it.
Okay. So
Should I bring sugar or honey just in case?
I feel like the honey would at least be a little healthier than the sugar.
It's local, so
Yeah,
it'll be an
it's like
allergen defense.
Maybe a little bit to put in, like if I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of honey, did you see that specialty agriculture article I did?
No.
Yeah,
When?
So it was over the summer. So
Okay.
it started as I had like a back-to-back days of like articles I was doing because there was a bunch of stuff happening on campus. So I was reporting for Herald Dispatch. Spent a whole day here, one day, just like because of Board of Governors.
Yeah.
That was actually very interesting to sit through.
Hmm.
But one of my editors, he saw that specialty agriculture. We have a specialty agriculture major within the School of Science, but it's part of a one program.
Okay.
It will still be a degree, but now it's becoming its own independent program under the College of Science.
That's exciting.
But one of my editors, I guess he grew up on a farm, at least a farm lifestyle.
Yeah.
So he was really interested in that. And that was actually something interesting to learn about because, of course, I focused a little bit about, what does this mean for Marshall, but I also got to learn about, specialty, like your little garden, that's a form of specialty agriculture.
Okay.
Because specialty agriculture is this cool, all-encompassing term. I talked with this guy, the owner of a greenhouse called Terra Fade. He was talking about how specialty agriculture, of course, like in a region like West Virginia, we need specialty agriculture because we don't have large farmlands.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are too mountainous. And so areas like Terra Fate, they're big. They're the big thing because urban, especially urban agriculture. That's the biggest part about specialty agriculture.
Yeah.
And in fact, like he was even talking about how Terra Fate specifically is a flower
Okay.
greenhouse. He was even talking about there's a lot of benefits to especially agriculture and even then just local produce in general. Like
Yeah.
the Kroger in Huntington, they'll use Terra Fate for the flowers they get.
That's so cool. I actually didn't know that because, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. And
West Virginia is like this would be an interesting person to have on the show potentially. I don't know.
We could figure out like a cool like herbal tea and have him talk about
Yeah.
specialty agriculture.
I am growing tea, so maybe he could help give me some.
It's
going to
full
take
circle.
years to grow. Unfortunately, I found out it's quite a large shrub tree thing. But we'll get there. We'll post baby pictures on the Dead Podcaster Society.
Yeah.
We'll bring a plant in one day. But really cool experience. Yeah, the homesteading to me is like a dream. I'm not necessarily a doomsday or anything, but like you said, anything that comes from nearby is usually better in my opinion.
They cut it from the article because it was a little opinionated, but the guy did make an interesting point of he was like, I always tell people get a tomato, get 2 tomatoes, make sure they look as similar as possible. One from Kroger, one from your local farmer's market, and 90% of the time, I forget what he said. It was like majority of the time, you will find that the farmer's market tomato tastes better.
Oh yeah,
And
it does. More natural fertilizers and different things. It's or lack thereof of adding fertilizers and stuff from major farms. Plus, it's just good for pollinators. It's nice to have these flowers around, whether it's tomatoes, sunflowers, this or that. You're getting hummingbirds. You're getting all these great bees and different things that'll just help the habitat. I mean, it's one of the best things to preserve life. The practice of food.
One thing I found interesting was within specialty agriculture, there's also an emphasis on what they call agritourism, and that's the act of kind of just using it as a tourist attraction.
Oh, really?
I guess that's the best way I can explain it. Because of course, you're not just selling your product. You also like if you're running a specialty agriculture business, you kind of want people to get into the topic. I guess that's my understanding. And so a lot of these places, and I think when I talked to some people at Marshall about it, they were like, that's a big thing. They want to get people interested in, like the Terra Fate guy. He was like, we'll have all sorts of people come in because they remember, and he said it's even a benefit. One of the big benefits for local West Virginians is that most other states, there's a big disjointed between the generation that had their gardens versus the generation that doesn't. But with West Virginians, he has so many people, even from Huntington, who will come in and be like, I remember my grandma had a garden and she would grow their own stuff. And I guess part of specialty agriculture is getting people interested in gardening and having
bring it back.
having their own little produce.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned the rooftop gardening thing too, because you really don't need that much space. Sometimes you can just use pots and put it on the porch, or roof's always useful if it's not too steep.
So since we're kind of like using this to teach about Marshall, I know you're not part of the School of Journalism, but you're an audio guy through the School of Music. Do you want to go a little into what all you do?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I actually went here, did my undergrad in music. I did guitar and music composition, and after that I got into film scoring, and for that graduate degree, I really learned a lot about audio technology as well, more so than I even had thought, as far as just computer generating music and different things like that. But, just like any other, millennial who's basically gone to college and spent all this money and come out the other side and you don't know what to do, I'd really been doing random sort of gigs and jobs and stuff here and there, and it just so happened that Marshall needed some music technology instruction, basically. And so I just started out adjunct. And I came up with this idea of an audio production minor, and it's something that we're still working on, hopefully even helpful with the JMC's new podcasting major, where we're going to be potentially work in that way to. So that audio production minor has sort of opened some doors for me here as far as getting a full-time position and things like that, serving on the faculty senate committees and things like that, or at least research committee. So yeah, I'm loving my time here. Marshall is a pretty unique school in the sense of being a public university that maintains a communal feel, and I think especially with starting to work with the JMC here, I'm really starting to see a lot more about the university I hadn't before. So I'm excited to be here.
I will say, I think you can tell how, I feel like the campus experience is defined, in my opinion, by how involved student media is.
Yeah.
Of course, like, would I say students interact with all of our media? No. Whether or not students pick up the Parthenon, actually listen to WMUL, that's neither here nor there. But I think it helps that even if students don't actually care to listen to us, I feel like part of that little like comfy feeling comes from the fact knowing that our student media is so involved with everything on campus. Like you'll see WMUL at everything. Parthenon always has a presence,
Oh, yeah.
and of course Dead Podcasters. Subscribe to everything we're doing. We're growing a presence. Heck, we have the little YouTube channel for JMC TV.
Yeah.
I think as the College of Arts and Media just in general grows, I think we're going to see a lot more. Even just other departments have a chance to be a lot more creative with their stuff. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more people have a similar experience to you.
That's awesome. That's all we can hope for. And I'd love to see some collaboration. That's a big effort with this too. I feel like there's so much benefit from sharing art, multiple platforms, and what's fun. Do you want to talk a little bit about what is going on new here, the JMC?
Yeah,
and going into your third year.
So I'm in an interesting situation where I've always struggled with time management. And so this is the most involved I've been for my entire college experience. And I'm kind of sad because, like I said, I'm always so busy through the day because I don't get those standard like college students like, oh, like my schedule, Tuesday, Thursday, I'll have like a class from 9:30 to 10:45, a good break till 12:30, and you think, okay, that's my last class, that 12:30 to 1:45, I'm done now. I got tutoring till 3, from 2 to 3, so it's like I have breaks, but it's like, which they're breaks designed to give me a chance to focus on work, yada yada. So
Nice.
it's
Yeah,
not bad
absolutely.
breaks, but it's
Yeah.
but like I don't have as much free time as a lot of people, which is why I've kind of like held myself back. But I know Parthenon, I started doing that last year, and they really try to report, keep an eye on everything going on campus.
Yeah.
WMUL, they're slowly expanding. Them and Herd Vision. I'm mentioning Herd Vision because they're our sports broadcast. They recently got
absolutely.
that partnership with ESPN Plus.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
A classmate of mine, a girl in the same grade as, same year as me. She was post sharing on Facebook about how I think it was this last football game. I think the VTech game.
Yeah.
She actually got to, because I think she's interning for Herd Vision. She was actually talking about how she got to design the programming for everything.
Oh wow. It's a good internship.
That's the other thing.
Translate to a resume pretty well.
Herd Vision came into my video production class yesterday and was like,
Nice.
they don't want you to start as an intern for them. The requirement is, to work with Herd Vision, you have to be like an enrolled student. They want you,
okay.
you start paid.
That's
and
awesome.
then when you become an intern, you'll have your paid hours, but you'll have some hours that are like intern hours. Like they were talking about the student I was telling you about. She'll work like during games, she's getting paid for that. But on like non-game days, when she's like doing the production stuff, that's for her intern. But then once she has all of her internship hours, she'll get paid for those.
Yeah.
But heck, Parthenon, we're introducing ways for that to be, how there's like how in Old Main there's like student work. What's it called? It's a way for students who have a noticeable financial need to get paid to help out on campus.
Actually, yeah.
There's talks about that, like student
I
media
haven't
is
heard of that.
finding ways
Yeah.
to incentivize students to stay involved. JMC TV, they're doing their Herd Flake
Huge.
stuff, and I think that's the best way to get us dead podcasters and JMC TV. We do a lot of fun stuff, and so that's the thing. So I think those are. I don't think these will ever be. These might be paid. Who knows? I don't think so. I don't think so because these are much more creative focused, and I think that
Yeah.
that's the fun part. Even though our new director, Dr. Quick, he's putting the emphasis in because we're the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Mass communications. And I think he's putting the emphasis in the mass communications because we're not just here to tell news, we're here to entertain in a way.
Yeah. Well, totally.
Yeah, and honestly, being a journalism student's great. I want to go into television, film, yada yada, but especially since starting college, I've kind of been like, oh, well, if my dreams never come true, at least I kind of like being a journalist.
Yeah.
I kind of like being that guy.
It's
who's
got to
like,
be fun.
oh, it's been.
It's really got
it's
to be
been a lot of
fun. It's cool research. You
Yeah.
can get into a field that you're interested about in general
Yeah.
and
But
make a difference. And,
Best part about the internship was, excuse me, there were a lot of stories. There were one or two stories that I was kind of like, I'm not really getting into this. Not really interesting. But there, like that specialty agriculture one,
yeah.
never really thought about agriculture that much. I have an agriculture. I have a merit badge for agriculture.
Right on.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting thing, but I've never been like, oh, I need to know more. But now I'm like, oh, this is really,
I'd say give it a
it's
try.
like, listen, when I have my own apartment, I'll get a little like flower box and
Yeah.
grow some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is helpful.
I'll grow potatoes.
Makes the world more beautiful at the very
It does,
least.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can't just have streets and grass everywhere.
But I will say, I think, the journalism department's cool because, you learn about journalism, but especially when you're doing stuff like writing for the newspaper,
Yeah.
working the radio station, it's the perfect job for someone who just wants to hyperfixate on something and just learn about something new every day.
Yeah.
One of the editors at the Herald Dispatch, he was talking about how part of the reason he became a journalist was because of the fact that he just has this deep curiosity and he wants to satisfy it with everything through journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good philosophy. I mean, really. It's really awesome what you all are doing with the community because
Yeah.
I tell you what, we all work so hard every day. It's hard to see everything going on and really take in what your community has to offer. So
I think that's one of the
go pick up your Parthenon. See what's happening in the in the community.
Parthenon. Listen to 88.1. Do the right
Actually,
stuff.
amazing music.
Yeah.
We've got some good DJs on 88.1 right now.
There was a documentary that was aired last spring, and in fact, it was kind of I wouldn't say a big deal because it wasn't like some big famous documentary upcoming, but at least for like the radio world and just anyone into mass communications, it was a big thing, and we. Once again, just showing how much work Dr. Quick is doing in the background as director. He was able to get it to where Marshall was the first place. Like the night because I was like, I got nothing to do that night. I'll go watch it.
Yeah.
We were the first place to watch that documentary. We got to stream air it
The
first.
premiere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not many people came out to it, but it was interesting because there is a famous radio host who went to Marshall.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was Billy Crystal.
Really?
Yeah. And he wasn't Marshall wasn't name dropped, but when they were name dropping all these famous radio show hosts, they threw up a picture. I'm pretty sure it's Billy Crystal. They threw up a photo of him in college, and you just see the Marshall door.
That's so cool.
It's interesting to see because, of course, in Huntington and in West Virginia for that matter, Marshall is so ingrained in the community.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But then you start looking outside of West Virginia, and at first you don't see it. But it's interesting how ingrained in American culture Marshall is.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't even realize
We
it.
have alumni doing so many things.
Yeah.
Even in the music world, all the way to, I mean, and just locals too around. I don't know if necessarily all of them were students, but I mean, from athletes to, I guess,
Yeah.
Billy Crystal, and
Like
I mean,
you don't even have to be.
there's a lot of West Virginia out there, and a lot of Marshall.
Oh
at
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I totally am with you.
I say it.
Chad
West Virginia.
Pennington, Byron Leftwich,
I have a vendetta.
Randy Moss.
I have a vendetta against Chad Pennington.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah,
I'm sure
me-
you're not the only one.
The joke is that me and his son Cole are
Uh-huh.
same year, same birthday.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And so, I didn't find out about this. I didn't know who Chad Pennington was until I started going to Marshall, and my mom was like, "I remember when you were born because Cole Pennington coming here was a big deal because his dad was here."
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And my mom was like, "I remember when you were born, all the nurses were freaking out because like Chad Pennington's son was coming," and I was like, "How dare he be born on the same day as me?"
Great. Still some thunder, huh?
But yeah, no, like even if it's not a big national name, there's like some communities that are held together by West Virginian
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. West Virginia is an interesting place. We are very flawed. I'm not saying we are a perfect state,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
something about the people around here, we are just. I would say we are peak American.
Oh, yeah. We're
Maybe-
we're still
okay.
part of it,
Yeah,
at least.
like I West Virginians will have their flaws, but at the end of the day, they will do everything in their power to help out their neighbors.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. I mean, just moving into the house has been 2-3 months. I already know the whole street. Everyone offers, you start offering help. And it just is this resounding sort of, like you said, just sort of way of life that we all share in. So,
It,
yeah.
we're almost a time locked state, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
I think we like it too.
yeah, we
We like
have
the time lock.
we've accepted technological advancements, but like just like in terms of like social norms, and I gotta be careful how I phrase this. In terms of like certain like mannerisms and like friendliness,
Yeah.
we've kind of like time locked ourselves in the sense of unless we know we're in danger, we're going to keep that. Most of us will keep that front door open.
Yeah.
In fact, like I remember growing up visiting my grandparent, specifically my grandparents who live in Mason County. I remember growing up and visiting them, and whenever we'd visit on the summer, they'd always have of course the screen door closed, but like to not let the bugs in. But they would always have that front door open.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a thing of the past.
Oh, yeah.
For I would assume 90+%, but I'm no human geographist. That's not a word, but yeah. Anyways, I say we wrap. I gotta go
Yeah.
teach guitar.
Sorry about that.
No, it's great.
I think this was a
I
great.
love being an instructor at Marshall.
Yeah, this was a great Yap session.
Yeah.
Great first episode.
Yeah, this is our pre-pilot.
Yeah. I'm
Excited for this.
You wanna talk about what our next tea's gonna be again?
Yeah. I would have to. I can't remember the title, but I think it's called Under the Tuscan Sun, and it's that black tea with the
yeah.
yogurt. And then for the herbal, I haven't decided yet because I have something called Steep Me to Sleep currently. We'll try the stress balance for our herbal that we have over here, and then you'll get the comparison between bag tea and loose leaf tea.
Okay.
And I think our I don't know. It'll be a good kickoff. Do you know anyone in the department that's super into tea?
Outside of Dr. Quick?
We should see if Dr. Quick will come on for next episode.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
I don't know. Maybe a Friday in the morning's good.
Yeah. That's great. I
Yeah.
guess, should we close it out the way we started? Just like
Yes, we should.
3, 2. This was Tea Time with
With Jimmy and Nolan.